one of the things that I really enjoyed reading the other day, and it goes back to that pursuit of happiness element. You wrote something a bit about the importance of appreciate the fact that we have light and shadow in our lives, and I think it goes to a conversation that I seem to be having quite a lot about nuance, and saying, like, let's move away from this polarized thinking and thinking about those sort of the fact that it's not all positive thinking. It's about making sure that we're aware that light and shade are in our lives. What do you think we need to do to think about the world in that less polarized way?
I think it's, again, it comes into that kind of extreme self-awareness piece that is very often, there's a phrase that I use. So tomorrow, as we record this, tomorrow, Friday, I'm delivering my whole day Find Your Voice event. And one of the things that I will say is about kind of how those stories can kind of define us or not define us in that sense, but also is recognizing that we have all the answers we'll ever need. Very often when we need help, when we want to kind of get inspired, we always look externally. But I believe we do have all the answers we'll ever need. What we need sometimes is to ask ourselves better questions. And the problem is with better questions, it can provide uncomfortable truths. And that's that kind of the light and dark element. That very often our uncomfortable truths lie in the fact that there's areas of our life that we just don't ask questions about, or it feels uncomfortable, or very often we won't like the answer. For me, and a large part of my own recovery over the past 12 years now has been through the ability to ask questions which do provide uncomfortable truths. Sometimes you need to kind of up your self-care and energy around it, because it does take you into a place. But as long as you're doing it with self-awareness and with self-care in that sense as well, asking yourself better questions is a really good place to go.
And what question really took you to a place?
So I think for me is recognizing that this is coming from an obsessive compulsive mindset as context, but I need to qualify most of the things that I do when I'm not in a great place. Am I doing something through obsession? So am I compelled to do this? Am I doing this, or am I doing it through compulsion to please others? Because that can be very often when we struggle with life, we become more kind of subservient to more dominant people, dominant situations. So am I doing it for obsession, compulsion, or actually am I choosing to do this? And it's when you first start asking yourself this question, it's amazing how much we don't choose as part of our day-to-day lives. So what time do you get up in the morning? Could you do with more sleep or less sleep? Or is it because you've always done it that way? Why do you wake up next to them? Maybe it's a question that I'm asked in a while, but I usually throw that one in as a bit of a dad joke, and just to kind of get. But it's a very great example of sometimes it's an area we don't talk about or we don't question.
You know what? It's really, but that's the interesting thing, because often when we're seeing clients, and I'd imagine you get a lot of this in your audiences.
Yeah.
They are thinking, do I need to make positive change in my life, and what do I need to do? But we do tend to find ourselves. I remember actually didn't become a client of mine, but I had a conversation with a guy who ran a construction business, and it was clear that he wasn't enjoying his day to day. It was just sort of everything he's told me. It was like, and he's like, but I've done this for 40 years.
Yeah.
And actually those habits we form often don't serve us as we move forward, right?
And they form part of your identity.